Ay, 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 ay.
Hello guys, this is Kubay speaking of another video, and this time we'll be doing another what I think of insert series here so far. This time it will be different because I'll be talking about 3 series this time. The first being which Haite, Kudasai, Takamine-san, or in English, which makes me laugh every time, please put these panties on, Takamine-san. Every goddamn time. Now, I'll be doing it different this time because on the regular I always talk about the story, the characters, the art, but this time I'll be talking about like what happens in chapter 1 because there's a lot of information being put onto you starting from chapter 1, so I gotta talk about the events that happens in chapter 1. First of all, I gotta talk about Takamine-san. Takamine-san is always at the top of her class in both academics and athletics. On top of that, she's very charismatic, and since first year, she was already the student council president. Now, if you put her in a school hierarchy, she's basically beyond, she's basically a god. Now, Shirota Takashi is a guy who's basically an average guy, of course. He already knows he's a loser, he already knows he's average, like, that kind of stuff. He basically skips school, goes into the gym storage room, and then Takamine-san shows up in the storage room, and he's wondering why is she in this place, and she's changing her bra. And then after he gets back to class, Shirota feels embarrassed, and then they bring out the test results, which Shirota has a 52. Takamine-san scored 98 points, which in her usual would basically score 100. But then Takamine-san reveals her quote-unquote powers, which basically undress her panties, and we got a noise. We got a noise ass shot, and then we get back to the beginning where they're about to receive their test scores. Of course, like in Shirota, it's normal, it's 52, while Takamine-san got 100. Now, Shirota asked Takamine-san about the math test, like the feeling that he saw that she got 98 points. And Takamine-san asked him about, you saw them, didn't you? She's talking about her breast. I gotta summarize how her power works due to her bring out a long monologue, which basically she takes off her panties, she basically time travels, and then she basically changes the present basically. And then whenever someone sees her fucking breast, like that someone will remember what happened. And basically that's the gist of it. And since Shirota saw it, she's offering him to be her closet. Of course, he won't accept it, but then she forced him to do it. Basically, she did a fake sexual assault. And yeah, that's basically the story from now on. So, what happened in chapter 1, you're basically thinking she's a manipulated bitch. And yeah, that's what my first impression of the first chapter was a few months ago, because I had to reread this shit, which is enjoyable to read. Now, I gotta talk about the art. The art is stellar. The art is amazing. Like the details, like the author's art style in this manga is basically amazing. Like after I read this for the first time, I basically had to follow the author on Twitter, where he basically do color drawings, text lists, manga panels, and more, which is amazing because every time he posts something that's basically either a text list panel or a goddamn color drawing of Takamine-san, like I'm basically just basically I'm moaning every time. Like Takamine-san is like so goddamn hot. And after like a few chapters where we get into situations where basically Shirota needs to put on Takamine's panties because she often takes them off a lot due to basically time traveling. Yeah, of course she would do it, like for her own good, like grades, like that kind of stuff, which is unfair. And there was like in chapter 12, he was basically talking about a story where he used to meet up with this one girl around his age at a park, and they were basically taking care of a abandoned cat together. And then it was raining hard, and then he tells about it was raining so hard, just just like today, where we're basically in the present. He rushed home to grab an umbrella and some towels, and by the time he got back to the park, she was already there holding a huge umbrella and her own towel. And basically, after that incident, she never went back to that park again. The cat disappeared too. He always thought that he would see her one day. She was never one for many words, so he never got her name or even what year she was. Which, when Takamine-san heard this, she found out that Shirata is her childhood friend. And then, like, I'm just saying key events at this point. I don't know if it's chapter 17 if I remember correctly, but this is where he meets, like, many people were like, after chapter 17 were like, finally a love rival, but then like a few chapters later it found out that she was basically with another girl, basically a Yuri ship. So thank God. And then we got some adventures, and basically that's the story. And man, if you like it, read it. It's really enjoyable to read. You may hate Takamine-san at first, but you'll grow on her, basically. So yeah, the second manga that we'll be talking about today is We May Be an Experienced Couple, but, or in Japanese, Mijugu na Futari de Gozaimasu ga. Let's talk about the story first. Ikuma and Tsumika Saiki are two childhood friends who recently got married. However, despite being deeply in love with each other, they have yet to cross a hurdle that lies in their happy and youthful life. To have sex. Due to the duo's inexperience, the two virgins are left awkward and embarrassed when the thought of it enters their mind. They tried their best to attempt intercourse, from simply asking their partner to being aggressive or making a move, but it tends to end in the most anticlimactic of ways. Yes, basically the first like 30 chapters. The awkward yet hilarious story of them trying to kickstart their nightly activities begin. Which, yeah, one of the reasons why they haven't had sex yet is because whenever Sumika removes Ikuma's glasses, his face looks like a bad boy's, and like he's too embarrassed to do that. And there's a lot of times in this manga where basically they try everything. They try going to a hot springs, they try taking a bath together, which if you know ecchi mangas, or basically almost close to the hentai mangas, I think you know what happens when it comes to the bathtub. So basically, yeah. But what happened in that moment is, I guess, softcore. Like, even Sumika tried to basically it's really funny because he tried with a skeleton from the science lab, since Sumika is a teacher. Like, damn. Now let's talk about the characters. Ikuma and Sumika are basically, like I said, childhood friends who basically, like, Ikuma trying to marry her, and he eventually did. The side characters as well, like Sumika and Ikuma's colleagues, teachers, like all that shit, because I'm still not an adult with a job, so I don't know what happens in adult life, but I'll find out in like a decade. Okay, now when we talk about the art in this manga is alright for like the first few chapters of the manga, but every time that the manga's going on, it basically improves. Like the art in the later chapters are really great. Basically, I recommend this manga. Like, Ikuma and Sumika are basically like the best wife and husband couple, which that spot is tied between those two and Nasa and Tsukasa from Tonikawa. And yeah, I can't wait for more developments of this manga. So yeah, the last manga that I'll be talking about in this video, it's Soredemo Ayumu wa Yosetekuru, or in English, even so, Ayumu draws closer to the end game, which is made by Yamamoto Soichiro, the same guy who made Tagaki-san. Now, if you base on appearance, this is basically purple-haired Tagaki-san and basically cold Nishikata, which is really exciting. Now let's get into the synopsis. On a whim, first year Ayumu Tanaka quits the Kendo Club to join the illegitimate Shogi Club Uroshi Yaotome. The president of the club and a master of Shogi is thrilled to finally have a playing partner. As Ayumu Senpai, Uroshi endeavors to be his Shogi mentor and a student role model. Too often, however, she finds herself blushing with embarrassment, stone-faced, and honest. Like I told you, stone-faced, honest, basically cold, basically taller Nishikata with those traits. Ayumu sees no issue with calling Uroshi cute, although Ayumu likes her, but he always has a stone-cold demeanor, so he never breaks his guard every goddamn time, which is amazing to see a manga like this. He refrains from confessing and promises herself to first beat her in a game of shogi. Through high school life and shogi games, the two students have merely hilarious and heartwarming adventures. Ayumu enjoys every second with Uroshi, but he has a long way from beating her in shogi. With the compliment he made to himself, will Ayumu ever get the chance to confess his feelings to Uroshi? Let's find out in this manga. Basically, you have to. When it comes to this manga, it's literally like, it's very, very short. Okay, now, when I talk about Uroshi and Ayumu, they're basically really cute together. Like even though Ayumu has, like I said, stone cold demeanor, basically, inside, he's soft as a pillow. Like, there were times where he almost loses his composure and shows his emotions, and my god, like, seeing that is probably some of the best things that I've seen in manga. Now, whenever something happens, like there's a match where like he's about to win, but it turns out that Uroshi is just handcapping him so he can win, but he still doesn't accept. And Uroshi started to notice that in the later chapters of this manga. So yeah, I recommend you read all three of these. Basically, if you like slice of life romance mangas, I recommend you read like these three mangas. So yeah, this is basically the end of the video, guys. Please thanks, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. Share this with a friend and watch these videos next right there. So yeah, thank god that I reached 50 subscribers before basically uploading this video. So this is my treat to you. Instead of one manga, I recommend 3 mangas, and I'll probably do these kinds of videos, like 3 mangas like in one video. I have plans. I have many mangas that I want you guys to read. So yeah, once again, thank you for 50 subscribers. So yeah, looking forward to the next video. Bye.